Captain.
So, Chris, can you tell me with this project, what are the city employees affected? Like, would the police be affected or the administrator? Who are the people and how many of them?
Right, with our announcement today, our move to Google Apps for Business, Gmail, and Calendar, that is going to affect over 10,000 city employees. It does not affect the Edmonton Police Service. They function separately in terms of their technology systems, but it affects all 6 departments, 31 branches, our whole operation.
Well, what are some of the 6 departments and branches that people would know of that affects the daily lives?
Yeah, so I mean, it's everything from Parks and Recreation, Fire Services, our Sustainable Development, which is our planning group, and our Infrastructure Services. So it's all of the services that are provided by the city.
And the tax department too, presumably, and the land title registration, or
Yeah, absolutely. All those, waste management, day-to-day garbage pickup. It's all the things that you just expect when you get up in the morning. They're there. All the services.
Right. So, in terms of the benefits, what are the benefits of going with Google Apps, the email, the docs, the spreadsheet, and presentation tools?
Well, over the last couple of years, the city has been transforming the way that we provide services to citizens looking for innovation. Innovation is actually a principle in our strategic document, The Way Ahead. So the platform allows us to collaborate in a whole different way. One person can create a document, share it with multiple people. You can see, real-time changes online no matter where you are. And because it's web-based, we provide people with that ability to have any device, anywhere, anytime. And so it's really about a whole different way to collaborate and share information and to really transform the way that we provide services to citizens.
Right. So in terms of the software and hardware lifecycle cost savings, what kind of cost savings are we talking about? And how much, by the way, how much is it cost for you guys to sign up with Google on a per user basis?
Well, the per user information is proprietary and that only we and Google know.
Okay.
And
nice try from me.
All I can say is it's a really good deal. And our team, IT and materials management and law, we spent the last 6 months negotiating with Google, and they're great to work with. And a cloud-based solution like this is a whole different model. So we're moving away from having software licenses installed on desktops and laptops and having access to their systems. In terms of the functionality, one of the big differences moving away from upgrades every year or every other year to that whole concept of iterative change. And people have been experiencing that in their use of technology tools at home, but not necessarily in the business place yet.
Right. So the cost would be like in the $10, $20, or hundreds or more per user. What kind of ballpark?
Well, we have over 10,000 users, and the cost is the right cost for us. I really can't get into the details.
Okay, well, another try from me. But in terms of the cost saving for the next year or the next 2 years, what kind of figures are we talking about? I've seen 6 million, or what kind of figures are there?
Well, it's costing us $3.2 million to implement, and implementation talks about training, document conversion, a raft of things.
Sorry, you mean implement this change? The 3.2 million is for implementing the Google apps?
That's right, the move to Google Gmail, Calendar, Google Apps. And this is a large change affecting over 10,000 people, so it costs some money to implement that.
Right.
The savings, we're looking at over 5 years, 9.2 million in savings. So if you do the math, you take the savings of 9.2 and you subtract the cost to implement of 3.2, that's where people are coming up.
Oh, okay, 6, right. But for the first year, maybe it will be a cost because it'll probably be more than what you save.
Yeah, the return on investment is in that 24 to 36 month period.
Right, I see. Yeah.
And when we talk, we're not talking about savings. We're really talking about cost avoidance because it's avoiding having to pay things in the future. It's a slight difference in the wording because people can only get their heads around savings, but it's really about avoiding costs.
Right, right. So now into a very important question for Edmontonians and for other cities or Calgarians looking at you guys as an example. So what is the privacy implication of this change? And people worry about the Patriot Act affecting the data. I mean, after all, with the cloud, the data is in US, right? Do you guys have a special deal where you actually have Google locate all their data center for your data in Canada? What's the arrangement? What's the situation there?
Well, as a customer of Google's, we're not big enough to cause them to change their business model and set up a Canadian data center. I'm sure that will come in time as more people move, but that's really a business decision of theirs. We have provisions in our contract that if they do locate in Canada, we'll move our data there. But for us, it was really...
Sorry, Chris. So if they do have a data center in Canada, then you have a provision that transfer your data in Canada.
That's right,
Okay, got it.
I mean, that's really, it's their business decision to make. Mm-hmm. The whole issue around storage of information and access to information isn't just a Patriot Act American-Canadian issue. These issues are arising in Europe and in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, those countries have concerns, right? I mean, those, in fact, competitors to cloud competitors are using that. Hey, I mean, you have the U.S. in Patriot Act, and well, come use us. So what make you guys persuade you guys?
Well, we've done our homework. We've understood and studied the Patriot Act. We've looked at it from a contractual perspective. Our law department has looked at it. This is not the first time that we've been in the cloud. We've been in the cloud since 2005 with the data in the U.S. So we've been through that process. We've done the privacy impact assessments, and we have the experience. So that's probably a bit of the difference for us is we've experienced it, we understand it, and we've educated ourselves on it. I mean, Canada has a similar act. It's called the Anti-Terrorism Act, but it doesn't get as much airplay as the Patriot Act.
Yeah, I mean, with Canada, we have our own judicial system, our courts check and balance to protect us, right? But in U.S., they have their own system, and some would argue ours is far superior than theirs. So, in fact, on this point, I just talked to media's relations person, Wayne Wood, from the Alberta Privacy Commissioner Office. I understand from him that the City of Edmonton has not provided privacy impact assessment to the office yet. So what is the plan on that? Are you guys planning on submitting that your assessment for the commissioner's office to review? What's the schedule on that?
Yeah, and that's really a decision for our Freedom of Information and Privacy office to make, which is part of the city clerk's office. And the process of submitting that information is not mandatory, it's voluntary. Mm-hmm. And when the Privacy Commissioner's office reviews it, they do issue an opinion. There's no approval process. And so it's really up to our FOIP office to decide if and when that we would submit that information.
But wouldn't it concern Edmontonians that the watchdog is there, but it's an optional, and you guys are, at least if I hear you right, you are electing the option of not submitting for review. I mean, taking the case of University of Alberta, in 2010, they did prepare, I don't know how long, but they did prepare my submission, and a few months later, the office gave an assessment, and at least the users have to be told of certain things, and yeah. So can you comment on that? I mean, your FA did it. Why not City of Edmonton?
Yeah, and I didn't say we're not going to. What I said was it's really a decision from the Freedom of Information and Privacy Office at the City of Edmonton. So it's up to them to decide whether to submit that or not.
Mm-hmm. Are they have you been in talk with the office, and are they going to do anything anytime soon?
Well, we work very closely with them on this initiative and on others, and it's really their decision. We understand the law, the legislation, and we have all the provisions in place to protect the information and privacy, but it's really the FOIP office to decide. Mm-hmm.
So excuse my ignorance here. So is the FOIP office a part of the city, or is it a totally independent organization? Like from what you described to me, it seems like it is still part of the City of Edmonton, right? It's not independent oversight. It's part of the city. Right?
Yeah, that's correct.
It reports to the council.
It does through the city clerk, absolutely.
Right.
And they're responsible for all of our own legislation around records management, as well as ensuring we adhere to provincial legislation.
Right. So it's kind of a colleague with, being overseen by the council.
Yeah, I mean, sure, the council provides oversight through the city clerk.
Right. So maybe I should ask him a question afterwards. But let me get back to the fun bit on the technology and the stuff. So when are you guys going to, assuming everything is okay and whatnot, when are you guys going to launch into this process? Or and let me put it another way: when is the first City of Edmonton employee going to see this change, or is there still approval needed, or what was the situation there?
Yeah, great question. And we've been working on this whole process for 2 years. In the last 12 months, we've had about 400 users using the tool in an early adopter state. So we've already got that. We've already got a number of parts of the organization, not just IT, but intergovernmental affairs and other parts who are using the tool. And they've moved to that kind of paperless world because they can share using in real time. So the large numbers, we'll see it later this year when we do the email conversion, because that'll be everything at once, email and calendar. And then later this year, early next year, we'll start the move for Docs. The Google Docs you can do not all at one time, because it has the whole world doesn't use all the same technology for document creation, and so we'll have people in multiple spaces, tools. But the goal is to get that done by the end of 2013.
So from the sounds of it, you do have a very detailed rollout schedules, and do you have like mechanism for users, especially early adopters, to provide you with feedback and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we made this announcement to the IT staff this morning, we actually showed a number of videos from our early adopters. Because it's really, people can tell the story about how the tool works for them, how they save time and energy and all that. Then other people can see themselves in the story. And so we're approaching this as a large-scale change initiative. This really supports how we're trying to transform as a city, using new tools, being innovative and collaborative. And so change management and understanding the science of change is all part of this initiative too.
Right. So you have 10,000 users in Edmonton. That's big. But then compared to the 800-pound gorilla, on the other hand, if there are things that you guys need to change or it's not working for you guys, is there room for you guys to give feedback to Google and have them change things, or pretty much that's whatever they give you is whatever you get?
Yeah, and the folks from our law department said it well when we were negotiating with Google. Because of their user base, they are like the third largest country in the world. So we have provisions in our contract to make sure that any changes that they make to their technology does not impact our ability to operate as a city, and we have the ability to address that. So all through negotiations, they've been fantastic. But it's not until you get into using it and integrating it into our whole operation that we'll understand that, but so far so good. And we're not the first city, in the world to make this move. Other U.S. cities have done that. Other large Canadian private companies, and so really just it's new for this country, but other people are looking at the tool too, and it's a different platform, and you have to change the way you do things, but it's always good to have that opportunity.
Right. And by the way, the FOIP assessment, is it public record for Edmontonians and for other, like for the public to inspect and to look at, or what's the situation on that?
Our privacy impact assessment?
Yeah, right.
Anything is FOIPable, as we say. I don't believe we've published that, but it's really something people would have to contact the city clerk's office and ask that question.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Chris, for help for the interview today. And if I have more follow-up questions, I'll email you or send you some follow-up.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Bye.
Bye now.